Hey guys, it's Steven from Fracelli. Today we are talking about watches and we're going to do a quick up-close one-take review of the TAG Heuer Aquaracer Calibre 5. This watch is actually from my personal collection. It is an older model that I've had for nearly 10 years. It's no longer available new, but they are trading used for around $1,200. Also note there is a blue version of this watch if you're into that. I'm not into that. I did go with the black at the time, but let's go ahead and take a closer look. All right, we are up close with the TAG Heuer Aquaracer Calibre 5. As mentioned in the intro, this is not a new watch. I've had it for nearly a decade. First thing I'll say about the watch is it's aged very well and been really durable. I've had no issues with the watch mechanically, and as you take a closer look, it's still in really great shape despite having a ton of rest time for nearly a decade. For about the first 2.5 years or so when I got the watch, it was my only watch and worn virtually every day. So overall, the watch is a very straightforward dive watch. So a lot of the characteristics of it are very focused around diving. The one elephant in the room, it is very similar in design to a Rolex Submariner. You could say it is a more or less copy of that, or a poor man's Submariner. I'm okay with that. The Submariner is a great watch, and obviously this takes some stuff from there, but it is a much more palatable price point than the Submariner. So thing that everybody can enjoy. Not everybody, but more people can enjoy. So back to the dial itself here. No drama, very straightforward dive watch as mentioned earlier. Everything is luminescent, so the hour markers, the hands, and the indicator at the top of the bezel, all for functionality of being able to read underwater. There is a date display on this watch, whereas the Rolexes have a magnifier or cyclops as people call them. This one is just straight through the sapphire crystal, which the watch has. Onto the bezel, the unidirectional bezel, I should say. Once again, a no surprise, used for diving. You can't turn it back and think you have more air in your tank. One thing I'm also a sucker for on this watch is the small pop of orange on the second hand. Small thing, but love it. It is a automatic movement, as you could see on the dial as well, with a depth rating of 300 meters for water resistance for diving. On the automatic movement, it does work well. This is not a chronometer watch where you get extra paperwork for the certification of how accurate it is. There is a noticeable difference between some higher end watches that are a bit more accurate on a daily basis. Likewise, automatic movement totally works, but it's a little less sensitive. And if you're really active, it'll stay wound. But I've found over time that or not even over time, even when I first got the watch, if I wasn't moving it around a decent amount, it did require some winding to keep running. Not a reason not to get it, but just something to consider, why certain watches cost more than they do. There is a trade-off of having this versus a Submariner. There's no doubt about it. So going to the bracelet, this is an aftermarket NATO strap, one I picked up really inexpensively on Amazon. Originally, it did come on a steel bracelet, so staying with the theme of it being similar to a Submariner in style, this is very similar to the Oyster bracelet found on most of the Submariners. I don't have a Submariner here, but I do have a Oyster bracelet for reference. If you want to check this watch out, this is the Rolex Explorer 2. I did a video on that as well, but just for looking, you could see very similar aesthetic. I did swap this to the NATO after I got this because just felt like I had the same bracelet on two different watches. So another thing that's nice about the NATO is it does make the watches lighter, and you could have fun with swapping them out really easily. Here's my 4th of July special, and just a red one, and the James Bond. So let's clear this stuff out. But again, NATO is just fun, easy to have the watch feel different, and nice too in the summer because you can actually adjust this, and if you have a hot day where your wrist is sweating. This watch does actually have a release in the bracelet, but it's really too big to just adjust for, if you get hot, for example. This is really intended for giving some extra room significantly around a wetsuit when, you guessed it, diving. So coming back to the watch here, another nice little feature that it has is the case back. Another downside of NATO straps though, or a downside of NATO straps, is you can't really see the case back, but we'll pull that away there. Does have a cool diver's helmet engraved on it, pretty cool. There's a reference number as well, WAN 2110. This watch as is not made anymore, but there is a newer one. So this one is 41 millimeters with a 300 meter water resistance rating. The new one that has that same specs, those same specs if you will, the case diameter 41 and the depth rating of 300, that one retails for $25.50 now. So let's go and show that one up on the screen a little bit. So one thing you'll notice as the newer one definitely departs more from the Rolex style and takes on its own. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on the new one versus the old one, and watches that imitate other watches and all that good stuff. I'd like to hear your thoughts. So back to the watch, which is half unbuckled now. So, just want to say thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. This is a very new channel. This is one of our early reviews, so open to feedback, both good and bad. Thank you again for watching. Take care.